quote, we should not be criminalizing mamas and babies trying to flee violence at home or trying to build a better future. So what does that mean? Just open borders? Come one, come all? And by the way, we'll kick in health care for you too. And maybe a free college education. Joining me right now, Texas Congressman and Border Security Co-Chair Brian Babin. Congressman, your reaction to this news: decriminalize the United States of America's border?
Thank you, Trish. It's utter nonsense. You know, the Democrats actually helped pass these immigration laws in years past. It's illegal to come into our country, you know, without permission. And if she's so interested in the mamas and babes, as she says, then she ought to be providing the supplemental money and funding that the president is asking for so that we can slow down the influx of these people that are just overwhelming our border. 144,000 last month alone, most of which have been released into the country. The president is doing an outstanding job with with the tools that he has. And if the Congress will not pass laws closing these loopholes and trying to disincentivize the influx of these people, then we've got to have interior enforcement. And we've got 1 million people running around out there who are illegal in this country, who have already been had their cases, adjudicated, that's the word, adjudicated by federal immigration courts, and they have been ordered to leave. And this is a federal order, and I guess these Democrats just want to defy the law. Mrs. Pelosi was asked about interior enforcement the other day. I think it was yesterday, and she said, what's the point? What's the point of interior enforcement? So I guess they want open borders.
Yeah, open border. Hey, you know, I was talking earlier with Katie McFarland, and one of the things that she said, actually not on air during commercial, but I thought it struck me as a pretty insightful, important thing to say. She said, look, there's some basic things, right, when it comes to having a state, having a country. And the first thing is a border, and the second thing is a strong currency, right, a dependable currency. And if you don't have the border part, then you're not going to have the currency part at some point, because as we've seen exemplified overseas, right, in Europe, with all the migrants that were brought in to Germany, to Sweden, I think is another example, it has been very destructive to the economies of those places and thus
hugely.
The currencies, right?
Absolutely. I don't know how our economy will stand up with this type of numbers coming across the border. You know, my district is in Texas, which is really especially hit hard by the open border situation. Although mine doesn't border, you know, I'm not on the border of Texas. I am in East Texas, and we are still overwhelmed in our school systems. And you know, we've got to educate these people. We've got to medicate them. Many of them are already on some sort of welfare program as soon as they come in. This is one of the big lures that keep bringing them in. And we've got to turn off the green light. And interior enforcement is one of the few tools we have available to us, and the president needs to make use of it. Unfortunately, the DHS secretary doesn't look like he's supporting interior enforcement, and that greatly concerns me.
Well, here's the president earlier today saying, look, the Democrats need to do their part as well. Watch.
We're getting funding hopefully today. Hopefully they'll be passing the bill. It's a humane bill, and that's what we want. It's all about humanity. It's about helping children. What's happened is just so sad, because if the Democrats approved the loopholes, where they knocked out the loopholes and we changed asylum, the whole border would be fixed. In the meantime, Mexico is doing much more for us than, frankly, the Democrats.
And yet, are in the Senate.
I think that helps the Republican cause and re-election of President Trump. I believe that this is way out of step with the majority of the American people. I think this is scary when they see that these folks want open borders, they want chaos down there, they don't want to enforce the law. They're recommending the Green New Deal, which would totally would bankrupt the United States in just a short few years. $93 trillion is what it would cost. Wanting to socialize our our whole medical system, which would wind up abolishing private insurance, throwing about 150 million people off of their insurance. I think this scares people. And, well, you know, we've got, we're not here to talk about health care, but the Republicans have plenty. I'm a health care provider. We have plenty of great plans to replace what we have today without having to socialize this whole system the way
Look,
they're
if they
asking.
get their way, they'll socialize education pretty much too, because that's what Bernie wants to do. He wants to just pay for everybody to have a free ride in college, regardless, I guess, of whether or not college is really the best thing for you. In many cases,
That's right.
people are better served by not doing that and maybe taking an alternative path. But the government is going to offer it, so why not? And apparently, as I said, if they get their way, come one, come all, you'll get free health care and free college and free whatever else you can throw in. Congressman, it's good to see you.
You too, Trish.